Today on Uncommonly Good MTG, we're going to be taking a look at my top 5 favorite decks from January of 2023. But up next, one magical trick to keep people watching your videos. Stay tuned to find out. Hello and welcome to Uncommonly Good MTG. I am your host, voted sexiest disembodied voice in a Magic Card related YouTube video by Your Mom Magazine, Dr. Yukon Socket. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. You're too kind. Yukon Socket. Word to your mama. So I'm broadcasting to you once again from my Say It With Me secret underground headquarters, and it's top 5 favorite decks day. I like to do this like at the first of the month, but you know what happens? Like other stuff happens, and you don't have time to put together a video retrospective of the awesomest decks from the previous month, which takes a lot of time to put together. So we go ahead to the first weekend of the following month so we can look back at the previous month and put these things together. All right, so what is a top favorite deck? So it's not the winningest deck, it's the decks that I had the most fun with. When I look back upon the last month and I look at those decks, these are going to be the decks that I'm looking to play because I like them the best. So let's run down some stats real quick. I looked back at December, and from what I can tell by using my little tool, UntapGG, not a commercial, I played in January like 544 games using 76 different decks. Some of you are saying, amateur. Yeah, probably. I wish I could rack in the big time YouTube money and quit my job and sit here and just do this for you all day long. But as of right now, nothing. So I got to play merely 544 different games in a 31-day period. Let's see. So that is the equivalent of about 18 games a day, 2.5 decks each day, with an average of about a little over like 7.16 games per deck I have to play. Now, I only put like between 4, 5, sometimes 6 games in a video. There's a lot of games that are just really bad that I just don't bother to show because who wants to see me getting my butt kicked in a video? But yeah, that's what's going on. So out of those 76 different decks, I posted probably 30 or 31 different videos, and that's what you got to see. And out of those, 5 of them made my top 5 list. All right, now let's go through the qualifications. What makes a deck a favorite deck, in my opinion? So here are the rules. Number 1, it has to have a decent chance at winning. So I'm not, I don't care too much about like actually winning a lot or climbing the ladder or whatever the deal is. I just want it to put up a good fight and to play a good game, because it's not about winning or losing. That's just not where it's at for me. It's about, while I'm playing the game, am I having a good time? I want to see my deck do things. I want it to see do like a triple backflip. I want it to, do some cool ass ninja moves or something. Anything. It always needs to put up a good fight. That's part of that same thing. Decent chance of winning and putting up that good fight. That's where the fun and the magic happens. Let's see, the cards or the synergy of the cards needs to be interesting. Because I can play with the same deck over and over again, but that gets boring. And so we're looking for new cards, or we're looking for the synergy between the cards. A lot of times, some decks might actually, you can play them multiple times, and the way that they play out is different because of the way that the cards play together. And that gives a deck a longer life cycle, in my opinion. And so the more interesting the synergy between the cards, the longer that deck can be played. and the more fun you'll have because that makes a deck very interesting. Another thing that makes it very interesting is the way it just goes for somebody's throat, just like a rabid weasel, man. Sometimes I'll watch ratting videos where you got like little like rat terriers going after rats and stuff. And there's that one dude who has his mink as well. Man, those minks are rat killers. I'm sorry for talking about that too much. It's not Magic card related, but man, that is intense. And that's what a good red deck does for me. It's like a good ratting video. They just go nuts. All right, lastly, big bonus points for having a big finish at the end. You know, some decks are all about like just setting up for the finale. You're drawing cards, you're just blocking, you're just doing the minimum you could do to just get to that, you know, that 3-card combo that just finishes the game. And sometimes that's fun. I mean, to me, that is actually a little on the boring side. It needs to put up a good fight along the way. But man, a good big finish at the end is always nice. So there's definitely bonus points for a big finish at the end. All right, so those are the rules. That's what we're looking for. Decent chance of winning, puts up a good fight, lots of good cards that are interesting or card synergy, and a big finish. So enough with that. Let's get to the decks. Here we go. But he's 18. How many can I block at this point? It takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, I got tons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No math! 5, 6, 7, 8. Pow! Touchdown! Lava Bears! Victory! Land Tribal. Yeah, you know, this was the deck where I think I was really starting to warm up to Surge Engine. You know, because I have that rule, which is like if you're playing blue mana in a deck, put Surge Engine in it. He's such a good defender. He's just a defender. And as long as you got a blue mana, he becomes a 3/2 unblockable guy. Like straight off the bat, like on your third turn, you're attacking for 3/2. So good. And everything after that you can power up to, incredible. But this deck is so fun because you have all that ramping you up. Tatioba does such a good job with the lands once you have 7 in play. Topiary Stomper gets all big. Rin 7's making use of it. Cultivator Colossus, just the synergy of everything that's going on with this deck is incredible. And we got March of the Swirling Mist, which is one of my blue hilarity cards, the ones that I just find so funny because you could just pin down everybody's stuff. Like, yeah, I mean, obviously you could also use it in the case of a board wipe that comes up for keeping your own stuff alive, which would also be so incredibly hilarious to watch that happen. Them just wipe the board, and yet you temporarily phase out all of your dudes, and so it does nothing to you. That is just so incredibly good. Now, I haven't made it back here because this card was a stinker. I mean, it's really hard to say that a 7/7 is a stinker, but there's so many better cards you can put in this position for that extra 2, and I just never came back to change it out. So, but the rest of the deck is just so much fun. Between just having so much mana, ramping up to it, having Surge Engine cause so many problems in the early game, and then just laying the law down once you get up to that 7 magic land limit, and everything just starts going nuts. I love, love, love Land Tribal. I'll do this just to be a jerk. Ooh, he's going to block it. I'm going to save my Lycan Strike in case I can get him right in the face. I was going to go after the Valiant Veteran, but yeah, that face shooting sounds even better. All right, looks like we got it. Anyway, what should we do? Let's go out this way. Sure, auto pay. Yeah, come on in. Who are you gonna block? No one? There we go. We just tiptoed in there. Victory! All right, here we are with my Not Your Mama's Mono Red. And yeah, the big secret here is it's just red deck wins. I mean, it's not anything to say. We do have a couple of new cards in here that are different. We got Balduvian Berserker, which I totally liked big time. I like the fact that when he dies, he deals damage equal to its power to any target, and he gets Enlist, which helps to bump up his power so that when he dies, he's dealing even more. I thought that was really good. I thought it worked out well. He ended up being, I like his big old 3-butt for being able to do a little bit of defense as well. Curse of the Shaken Faith is the other weird one in here. Because basically people are trying to outplay you, and the only way they could do that is by playing multiple spells in a turn. And if they're taking the damage from that, that's even more they couldn't do. I kind of felt like this card itself is completely underused in a mono red deck like this. Because yeah, that's the problem. They need to play multiple spells, and this does that extra, the extra points that they can't handle. Other than that, we got pretty much the same thing you see. Otherwise, Antagonize was interesting because it just gives, your creature +4/+3. You see this kind of thing occasionally in a red deck wins type of deck. I haven't generally played with it in the past, so I enjoyed having that in there. This lineup looks good. This is the card I'm always impressed by, though. Look at that. I mean, because it does 1 damage to each opponent and creature, but it's each creature that those people and Planeswalker that they control. Your dude's totally fine. Doesn't do any damage to that. This card does a lot, especially when coupled with Mechanized Warfare. Man, Mechanized Warfare, I mean, when I first played in the pre-release for Brothers War, I think I saw Mechanized Warfare and realized, yeah, this is the Goblin Grenade, or what's it called? Goblin... Well, it's the one that does the Goblin. Every time a creature 2 or less power attacks, it does 1 point of damage. Goblin, what's that thing called? Glorious? I forget now. But it was so good, and this is essentially that same kind of thing. It does that additional point of damage, except for it doesn't have the same restriction. It's just any red source or artifact. So incredibly good. Yeah, so really, I love this deck. It was one of my favorites because it was a mono red deck wins deck with just enough out of the ordinary stuff to make it interesting. All right, we're back down to what is it now? 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We can make this guy into a 4. Okay, 7. That is 8. That is 10, actually. There we go. And punch. Punch, punch, punch. Victory! Betray the Flesh, it's really just the best of a series of decks that roughly do the same kind of thing. It's pretty much, you're putting out your artifacts that eventually you get to Mightstone, Weakstone, and then you can start playing Cityscape Leveler and a bunch of other stuff, right? And there's a lot of decks that did it. I've played a lot of them. There's Mono Black. I mean, just Mono Blue. Every color has their version that just ramps up into artifacts. But this was my favorite version. What was nice is that you had like Brotherhood End, which allowed you to wipe the board to a certain degree. You got Lightning Strike with the Pirate Monkey Goblin. God, I love that artwork. It's so good. And then you got Tezzeret. And this, like, I think Tezzeret looks super cool, but I just don't ever think he fits well with most decks. This is the deck where this guy shines. You're putting out Power Stones like crazy, and he's able for -2 to make those into 4/4s. Just incredible. He doesn't do much good against a Bankbuster. Bankbuster's already a 4/4, but he can make it into an artifact creature that can go and attack without a pilot, which is pretty decent. So yeah, it's just that this is a great, Brothers War artifact prototype kind of deck, but that that it's got that nice blue-red flavor, which means you can put Surge Engine in there, and Tezzeret really is the cinnamon you're shaking on top to make it so good. Yep, I was thinking that for some reason that he didn't have a 3. Woohoo! Look at me! I can make a copy of him. Oh, of something else. What can I make a copy of? All right, let's ninja in! That's 3 card draws. 1, 2, 3. Nice. We'll put out the land. Who should we choke back here? Yes! Oh, that is super good. And we're done. You guys could choke on it. Pass to attackers. And we win. Suck it, suckerfish. All right, so this is the lineup for Blue Deck wins. And yeah, this was an amazing deck. I just found it to be hilarious to play. There's one card that's kind of missing, and that is Invoke the Winds. That's the last of the trilogy of blue cards that I find so funny. Number 1, Witness Protection. What I love about it is, it doesn't get rid of the creature. It just leaves it behind. It's something that's totally right there. It's not the best creature removal you can get. But the fact that it turns him into a 1/1, named legitimate business person. Just love that. I think that is hilarious. It's like, here they go. They got Shuldred out, and suddenly the Shuldred is legitimate business person. Hello, legitimate business person. That is so funny. Second, Impede Momentum. Now, the thing about Impede Momentum is it is an incredibly cool looking card. That artwork is top notch. But I love the fact that it taps them and then keeps them tapped for 3 turns. So it's not like, they just are, take whatever the hit is and then the next turn they're back in action again. They are just dragging butt for 3 full turns. And I find that to be hilarious. Like I said, the last card that really impresses me is Invoke the Winds. If I had to remake this again, I'd put it in, except for, as you can see, I wanted this thing to be cheap. I wanted it to be a Winds deck. It needs to be really, really tight. And this thing doesn't have anything greater than 2 mana. And Invoke the Winds is 5. Yeah. Maybe. That would be thing. That's just to make a funny deck. A funny deck where people's creatures are just being either slowed down, turned into legitimate business people, or defecting over to your side. All good. But this deck, that's right. This is the other card that I also find really fun. Thing is, though, is that when it's played right, this is the coup de grace. It will finish the game. It's so incredible when you got enough mana and you could just pin every one of your opponent's creatures down, march through to win the game. They can do 0 blocking. They can do nothing about it. And you just win. March of the Swirling Mists. And, I think we've seen this before, but man, Surge Engine is my MVP from Brothers War. This guy, to me, he just came out of nowhere and is so good at the low end. If you have blue in your deck, there's no reason not to play Surge Engine. He is just incredible. All right, let's move it on. All right, well, I got 3 guys. Is this enough to win the game? I don't think so, but we'll see. Okay, we'll put this guy out. 1. We'll play the Devilish Valet. Put out 2 more dudes that can't attack, can they? Oh, that's it. Oh, they just entered the battlefield, though. That's good. All right, come on, Devilish Valet. You can do it for me. Please don't die. Don't die. Don't die. I'll attack. Come on, let's go to 100. Okay, we need to make it to 100. Maybe a little bit more. Oh, the humanity! Ooh, João Pedro Silva. There he is with the Boros Nuke V3. Man, it was so good. I mean, the big thing is if you look back at December's list, at the top was Boros Nuke. I had so much fun with Boros Nuke. And João here, he, I think, ramped it up to a new level there, focusing on parts that I hadn't before to get more guys out. I forget what the differences are between my original one. I had a Boros Nuke, probably 2. And then I put this in as Boros Nuke V3. But man, once again, this ended up being my favorite deck of the month. When I want to have a good time, this is one of those I come back to time and time again. There's just so much good going on here. Number 1, it has rabble rousing. It has Skitterbeam Battalion. Therefore, we're able to make that happen. It's got the Devilish Valet. Man, because that's the nuke. That's the nuke of Boros Nuke, is the Devilish Valet. Rabble rousing, Skitterbeam, burn down the house. I mean, this is expensive ways of getting it done. But, with all the other things going on, essentially, Stincia Uprising, Wedding Announcement, Muriel, the Shield of Argive. I mean, she pops out X 1/1 creatures, artifact tokens, where X is the number of soldiers you control whenever she attacks. Between that and Devilish Valet and Rabble Rousing, my God, it is incredible. So, yeah, once again, Boros Nuke is my number 1 deck of the month, and João Pedro's is my favorite version so far. What I'm looking forward to is All Will Be One, and coming back to see what we can do with Boros Nuke and the new cards. See if we can make it even better. All right, so that is it. My list of 5 favorite decks from January of 2023. I hope you enjoyed these as much as I did. If you did not, if you thought that there was something I missed out on, please post your ideas in the comments below. I would really like to know on what it is I missed out on. So, but going forward, I am looking forward to seeing what my favorite decks were from February of 2023. Tune in about 4 weeks to find out what they were. Until then, party on and have a good day.